What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had taken a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Tuesday edition of the Pandemic Update for Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. That's right, we have now entered the month of October, a month that will likely be transition month. We're seeing the summer COVID wave drop, and probably at the end of the month, we'll see the early signs of the winter holiday wave, the late fall and winter holiday wave will probably start to show up in a few places here and there. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the daily pandemic update on all things COVID and any other virus that could be a health threat to you. Let's face it, there's a lot of different viruses out there, and each and every one of them do carry a health risk. I keep you informed with what's going on with the latest levels of COVID, flu, all these other viruses. We talk about celebrity, health news, and a whole bunch of other things. Today we'll be looking at some Walgreens data and even some wastewater data as well. So if you're new to my channel, subscribe down below. Give this video a thumbs up. The more people that hit that thumbs up button, the more YouTube's going to push this content throughout the algorithm. Hit that notification bell, and of course share this video with anyone that you know. And leave your comments down below. Alrighty, starting off today with just a few news stories. And I do have to report to you a couple deaths, non-COVID related, although we don't know about the second one. Let's get through one at a time. John Amos, who was a pretty big actor, he was known for the Mary Tyler Moore Show, but he was also very well known for the show Good Times. He played the father on Good Times, and he has died at 84, and it does say that he has died of natural causes. So, John Amos, thanks for your wonderful acting. Thanks for everything, and God rest his soul. Now moving on to this. American Pickers. Those who watch the History Channel know of this show. Frank Fritz, who was one of the co-hosts of the show, one of the founding members of the show. And unfortunately, he has passed away at 60 years old. We are not seeing a cause of a death at the moment, but 2 years ago, he was suffering from a stroke. So that was not good, and we don't know if anything else has happened since then. But unfortunately, he has passed away. Of course, his great friend and the other co-founder of the show, Mike Wolf, was rushed to get to where he lived because he passed away. And yes, this is just not good. He was only 60 years old. So sad. He has passed away, and that's not the only one. Just the other day we lost Maggie Smith, known for Downton Abbey, Harry Potter, and so many other things. Those are the two shows I know her from. Of course, Harry Potter, back in my childhood time, was a pretty big deal. Alright, Germany reports outbreak of H5N1 bird flu on a farm. The outbreak killed 76 out of a flock of 184 birds, so that's not good. And now moving on to this, and we're going to spend a moment or two on this. We've been talking a lot about lately. Well, first we were talking about when's the free at-home test going to go out. You know, these things right here. It looked like it was going to go out a certain date and ended up going out late. Well, remember, I took a poll saying, will I get new test in the mail or would I get expired test? If you voted for expired test, you'd be correct. But I think even at that, this is a little bit ridiculous. They send expired test kits, 2 of them. Well, 4 tests total, but there's 2 boxes. And it's extended expiration, and it dates back to the expiration date of 12-26-2023. That's almost nearly what? We'll say almost a year old, just shy of a year old. A year expired with extended expiration date. And then you get people that say, well, I'm sick, but I tested for COVID, and I was negative on the test kit. Was it one of these test kits? Because you have a good chance of having a false negative on these test kits. And matter of fact, if you read the back of the box, it says, this test is more likely to give you a false negative result when you have COVID-19 than a lab-based test. I mean, come on. This is just totally ridiculous. This is a brand I've never even heard of. OHC. I don't know. It says here it was made. Where is it? Looks like it was made in South Korea. And I'm getting a lot of that. My post on this last night, yeah, you see 2.6 thousand likes, also had 175 comments. And I've read several comments saying, what brand is this? Yeah, there's a lot of people that have never heard of this brand before. So, yeah, frustrating that we have the tools, but we have the expired tools. All right, moving on. Let's take a look at this week's update for heat-related illnesses if we can. This dashboard has been constantly freezing up for me. It looks like maybe it's going to try and load here, but the point is there are still a few areas that are dealing with heat-related illnesses, especially in the south and you know what? In the Great Lakes as well, there are still some heat-related illnesses, as you can see here. So that still remains a problem at this time. Taking a look at the allergy map for today, we do see that 41% of the country is in low to medium status. There is some red today in extreme southern Kansas and portions of Oklahoma. Taking a look at air qualities for today, so I have to refresh this, you will see that air qualities are kind of a mix. There's still problematic areas in the West Coast. The East is not doing terrible today. You do see some oranges down in the Carolinas, but overall, not a bad day. Some yellows and oranges in the Denver area, and trust me, there are just a few problem spots on the West Coast. You can see them here. There we go. Oregon is showing up red, even some purples. Even portions of Idaho dealing with some problems, and in California, it's having all kinds of problems today, which is not a good thing. Alrighty, do you want to learn more about climate and weather? I got another place where I do that. It's called Climate Data Reports. I tweet about all things climate and weather, and I do need to report this to you real quickly. The death toll from Helene is now up to 137, and sadly, that number's going to continue to climb. Part of me wants to think that could hit 200 because the search and rescue operations are still underway. Last I read, there are still hundreds of people missing. And this is just not a good situation. And of course, you have areas that are still cut off, and you have people with medical emergencies. They need help, and there's just so many reasons why this death toll, it's going to at least go north of 150. This is one of the deadliest storms in modern times in terms of hurricanes in the United States. I know there's other storms that have gone into the thousands, but this one is really bad. And you want to be informed with what's going on ahead of time? Follow this account. And once in a rare while, I will go to this other YouTube channel, Climate Data Report, and maybe I'll post something up on there. Maybe I'll get something weekly going. It won't be daily, but maybe we'll get something weekly going there at some point once again. Philadelphia, yesterday, I have to express extreme caution when you take a look at this today. They had 1,018 EMS incidents, and I think there's an issue going on here. That's a really high number, right? Well, the day before they reported 672. I think there was some lag or something that went on where some of these incidents are probably from the previous day. So if you add them both together, you do still get about over 1,600 EMS incidents. Divide that by 2, it's 800. So maybe one day was just below 800 and the other day was just above it or something like that. I don't know, but that number just seems really high and the previous day's number seems really low. All right, moving on here, taking a live looking at what's going on with the counties just outside of Philadelphia, 2 of them anyhow, and we do see Montgomery County, respiratory emergency, cardiac arrest in Lower Merion Township, not good. Another respiratory emergency and a third respiratory emergency. Not terribly busy, but sometimes it's the severity of calls. And right now there are some severe calls. In Chester County, Pennsylvania, heart problem shows up a couple times. Seizures, sick person, respiratory difficulty, and stroke. All right, let's talk about COVID in Pennsylvania. COVID in wastewater. It's Tuesday. Pennsylvania updates. This is the only bit of information we really get on Pennsylvania. Of course, at the end of the week, we do get death numbers, but in terms of active levels of the virus itself, this is what we have to use for Pennsylvania. And we can see here, there are some counties now reporting a decrease, at least on this map. Sometimes when I go over here to the charts, I find different things. Haven't had a chance to actually look at the charts yet. Mercer County, there's a wastewater site that is dropping. Westmoreland and Armstrong County reports a decrease at this time. All 3 wastewater sites in Center County now report a decrease, which does make sense. The charts, the last I saw them, they were dropping. I hope that continues. And we can see here that in York County, Pennsylvania, things are dropping. Still an increase in Chester County, Pennsylvania. That's not a good thing to see, but the southern one there, southern Westchester site, is decreasing at this time, and everywhere else across the state, for the most part, shows no change or insufficient data. We just talked about EMS in Montgomery County. Well, Montgomery County, for the most part, is insufficient data, with exceptions to Abington Township in Pennsylvania. All right, let's take a look at the viral activity levels up in Canada. COVID-19 is moderate at this time, flu A is moderate, and RSV is low, with flu B not being detected. All right, let's take a look at a few states on Walgreens. The national positivity trend for COVID is 21.8%. The prior week is 25.3%. That's a difference of down 3.5%. Total test, 7,788 versus 9,981. And let's go to a green state, which means the positivity rate's dropping. Utah is seeing a significant drop with testing down. This is really good news. 20.5% positivity rate. The prior week was 35.3%. Difference of down 14.8%. Total test, 39 versus 68. Arkansas this week, 14.3% positivity rate versus 22.7%. It's down by 8.4%, and testing is down by 63, from 63 to 88. Hey, that's a legitimate drop, don't you think? Illinois is seeing a positivity rate of 22%. The prior week was 23.6%. That's down by 1.6%. Total test, 522 versus 712. South Carolina, 13.5% positivity rate versus 22.4%. That's down by 8.8%. Total test, 148 versus 237. Maryland this week reports the positivity rate from Walgreens testing is 20.9%. The prior week is 19.3%, up by 1.7%. Yeah, they actually went up a little bit. Total test is actually down, 86 versus 135. I think that's the reason why their positivity rate went up. New York State is seeing a pretty big decrease, 35.9% versus 45.7%. That is down by 9.8%. Total test, 435 versus 569. And then we come out here to California. California's positivity rate is 23.2% versus 26.4%. That's a difference of down 3.2%. Total tests, 285 versus 349. And let's do something different today. Let's end Walgreens on a state that is actually rising, and that would be Rhode Island. 27% versus 23.1%. Difference of up 4%. Total test, 37 versus 52. All right, let's head over to wastewater now. Let's take a look at some wastewater scan sites. And how about we go up to Akron, Ohio, and see what's going on there. Akron, Ohio for COVID is dropping at this time. RSV is low. Influenza A is low. Influenza B is low. HMPV is low. And norovirus is listed at medium. It had a rise. It dropped a little bit. Now it's holding steady. And we can see here, hepatitis A did have a detection. No detections of Mpox at this time. Let's make our way down to the south. Let's see what's going on in the Atlanta area. How about we take a look at South River, if we can. And we can see South River overall was dropping. Last couple updates went up a little bit. RSV is low. Influenza A is low. Influenza B is not calculated at this time. And we can see here that HMPV also not calculated. Norovirus, it's not calculated, but if I had to guess, it's probably medium at this time. And it does look like it's rising a little bit. No Mpox and a few hepatitis detections at this time. All right, let's go out to the west now. Let's see what's going on in San Francisco. Have not looked at that in at least a couple of weeks. And we can see in San Francisco, levels for COVID are moderate, dropping at this time. RSV is still low at this time. Influenza A did rise, then it dropped again. And now it's holding steady, rising slightly, but for the most part holding steady. It's still very low at this time. Norovirus is listed as high and starting to see a little bit of a faster rise for norovirus. HMPV, very low but rising a little bit. And there have been multiple detections of Mpox in San Francisco. Hepatitis A is also showing up a little bit as well. Alrighty, moving on here to variants. The KP 3.1.1 variant is in domination for COVID at 58.7%. Then to KP 2.3 is at 9.4%, LB.1 at 7.9%. Then KP.3 is at 7.1%, and then the new XEC is now at 6%, and probably at some point that could potentially be the next variant that takes over for COVID in the United States. Taking a look at influenza activity, we can see it is moderate in Washington, D.C. at this time. Everywhere else is still in the minimal category at this time. Any state that was low is no longer low, and we see Alaska is insufficient data at this time. New Jersey for today, we do note that hospitalizations there are a little bit higher than they were the other day because more hospitals are reporting 67 out of 70, which comes up to about 429 hospitalizations. 10 people are on a ventilator at this time, 53 people in the ICU, and 29 discharges reported. New York State, really, really good news here. Look at this. Their cases are really starting to drop right now. 727 positive cases, and it's a Tuesday. And hospitalizations went down on a Tuesday. That's a really good sign. 947 people are in the hospital, and in the ICU at this time, 118 patients in the ICU. So again, this is below 1,000, and who knows, if we keep dropping at this rate, will they go below 900 people in the hospital? Guess we'll just have to wait and see. Virginia did give an update today, and looks like some good news out of Virginia. Emergency department visits are dropping at this time, and let's change this to emergency department visits and urgent care visits, and we'll use the count. I like to look at the total number in who have visited, and that is at 1,872. Diagnosed with influenza is starting to rise ever so slightly. 313 past week, and RSV is starting to see a little small increase in activity at this time. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Tuesday edition of the Pandemic Update. I believe we will have another Pandemic Update again tomorrow. Let me know in the comments down below. How do you feel about this at-home test kits that they are sending out? This OHC COVID-19. Is that the brand that you received? Have you ever heard of that brand before? I don't know. Tell me what you think down below. If you're new to my channel, of course, hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that notification bell to be notified about my latest videos. Share these videos with anyone you know. And of course, give this a thumbs up if you do like the video. More people that do that, the more YouTube will share this content throughout the algorithm. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Until I see you again next time, have a fantastic Tuesday afternoon, but do so safely. Thanks for watching.